Now it's time for a little fantasy football. D Nasty is back. Dave, man, this Steelers game is on against the Giants, and I got to tell you, it's been not exactly a fantasy football player's dream.
Yeah, not a very high-scoring game here, and the only touchdown that Pittsburgh scored was on a special teams punt return. So not a very exciting game to watch by far. I totally agree. But
how many touchdowns were called back?
What's that?
How many touchdowns were called back? From just I mean, two for Pickens. I am Pickens. It's like he taps his right foot twice. I feel like that's harder than getting 2 feet down. Warren Sharp just tweeted that out too. It's like, how is that in a rule book is not a touchdown if you hop twice with your foot and touch twice? That is insane to me, man. But I mean, yeah, from a fantasy perspective, it's kind of sucky.
Exactly. Yeah, the neighbors won too. The neighbors penalty, I should say. They scored on that too, but that was a very questionable call too. Actually, on the neighbors penalty, he didn't have to be set. The receiver next to him was set, so there should have been a touchdown as well, I think. But yeah, very odd game tonight.
Totally, man. Already, just ending the third, 8 penalties on the Giants, 4 on the Steelers, and obviously the bunch declined, and yeah, and it doesn't even show the ones that sometimes take them back. So yeah, it is really weird. 222 yards for the Giants, 302 for the Steelers, but only 16-9, a bunch of field goals. Unfortunately, I do have Boswell, but it's in the league that I'm destroying, in my league where I'm just destroying Kaz in that league and stuff like that. But it's a crazy week of football, man. It's been nuts. Rough for me as a Badger and a Bears fan, Dave. It was if it wasn't the Badgers wasn't enough, I knew that was going to happen because it's Matt Eberflus. It's like if there's a window to mess up, he will mess it up, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, but you got to give the Jane Daniels. That was a ridiculous throw by him, but Noah Brown was just at the right place at the right time on that too. It was an amazing play. Jane Daniels.
It's the only place, the only guy in the end zone. Of course, the only place at the only time, and that's where the Bears. It's like couldn't call timeout to go over it, but I ran enough. People are going to stop listening to the show. I ran it enough about that today on an earlier segment, talking about the weekend.
Well, Stevenson too, trying to sit there and taunt the crowd while not paying attention to what's going on. That just is, yeah. He already apologized though, which is big thing for him, but it's big on him to do that. But still, big mistake on his part.
You should call timeout just for seeing that. Him way in the corner over there. And I guess he wasn't taunting the Redskins, the Commanders fans. There's some Bears fans there. There's a lot of Bears fans that travel, and he was kind of hyping up with them. But still, the play's going on while you did that. But it just shows the incompetence of the coach. It's just bad. But the Bears have a lot to look forward to. They just got to get rid of that guy. Packers win. That was nice for them, even without a quarterback, with Malik Willis in there, and that kind of shows what a good coach can do. That's the difference. Packers have a good coach, and that's why they're in it, and they're winning games with Malik Willis, which is absolutely insane. We'll see when we get to our segment here. And why don't you start with bye weeks, Dave?
All right, only 2 bye weeks this week, so light bye week this week. 2 major teams though that are on bye. Steelers, who are actually playing tonight. Russell Wilson, George Pickens. Van Jefferson has actually looked pretty decent tonight. He's had some nice catches tonight. Najee Harris, Jalen Warren. Those are going to be the Pat Fremuth, maybe. He's borderline starter, though. So those are going to be the major guys for the Steelers. 49ers, of course, Brock Purdy, Deebo Samuel, Jordan Mason, CMC when he is back, but he's not back yet, so we're not going to count him. And then Ricky Pearsall, he actually looked pretty good this past week. And then Brandon Ayuk, who's out for the year, though, so he doesn't really count as well. But and George Kittle had a monster game. George Kittle went off.
It was tight ends week. It was tight ends week. I would have started 2 tight ends in some of those flexes, man. I didn't know they were going to be that serious about that.
Oh, tight ends went off this week. I think it was the most ever. I think 177 receptions this week or something like they were saying. And it was just a ridiculous amount of touchdowns, too, that they scored this week. Yeah, it was definitely a tight ends week this week. It definitely was National Tight Ends Day. Tell you that.
It certainly was, man. Just insane. Looks like the Steelers got another touchdown, but they passed to Calvin Austin. Not too many people starting Calvin Austin III in their fantasy leagues, unless you're in the Super Deep League. But yeah, now he all of a sudden is the highest scorer for the Steelers with 3 receptions, 54 yards, and 1 touchdown. So, yeah, just the Steelers and the Niners. Why don't you get into key injuries, Dave, since you can start it off with Jordan Love?
Sounds good. Yes, Jordan Love. Unfortunately, that was tough to see. We thought it was his knee again, but it's actually his groin. He injured his groin and he re-injured it again in the second half. He is questionable for this week. They said he could potentially play. At first, they thought it was going to be very serious, but they said it's not as serious, not a long-term thing. For sure, he'll be back after the bye because they play the Detroit this week, which is a very tough game. I'm almost be okay with them sitting because I don't think they really win against Detroit, even though they're playing at home. I don't like it with a couple injuries they have, but Detroit's just been steamrolling people too anyway. But I'll get off of that. But definitely questionable for this week. I would definitely plan on him not playing though potentially because I think they do hold him out and then they rest him during the bye and get him completely healthy for the stretch run. But definitely keep an eye on that. There weren't a lot of injuries this week, but there were a lot of severe season-ending injuries. Christian Kirk. He has a clavicle fracture, so essentially broken shoulder or broken collarbone. So he's going to be out for the year. You can definitely drop him or put him on IR if you're in a dynasty league. Stephon Diggs, potentially it's going to be season ending for him as well, knee injury. They haven't said anything more yet, though. The MRIs haven't come back yet, but they said it could be a potentially ACL or MCL tear. So more to come on that. It was a non-contact injury too, which was very surprising, but that's definitely how they happen though. Jordan Mason re-injured his shoulder, so it's good that the bye is coming up for him, but he's definitely going to be out. And on the good injury front, CMC should be returning after their bye this week. He could potentially return week 10. So definitely keep an eye out for him and get him back on your roster if he is out there still. And then if you did put him on your IR, you might want to be bringing him back up. They said he should be back after the bye. So several reports are saying that. So it's good news on that front. Deebo Samuel, rib injury. He's projecting a week 10 return as well after the bye. So that's a good for him as well. And then last couple injuries, Brian Thomas, chest injury. He's going to be questionable for this week. They haven't really said anything more about it. They just said it's a chest/rib injury, so he should potentially be back. DJ Moore, your boy from Chicago, you might even have more information on this one. Possible rib injury. So they said he's questionable for this week as well. So definitely play through those rib injuries, but they're definitely very painful. Gabe Davis, a shoulder injury. He's questionable as well. They said he could miss up to 2 to 4 weeks, is what they're saying for him for that shoulder injury. So definitely keep an eye on that. They're going to be very short-handed for the Jaguars with the 2 injuries to Kirk and Brian Thomas, both in the same game. And then the last one is Drake May for New England. Amazing win by New England. It was awesome just seeing them beat the Jets.
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my God. Aaron Rodgers is in the darkness again, too, he said. He's trying to overcome the darkness. But anyways, Drake May, concussion, be questionable for this week. So definitely keep an eye on that.
He's probably on a Ouija board right now and shit.
Yeah, I'm so glad he's gone. Anyways, but yeah, Drake May. So keep an eye on that situation too. He possibly could come back this week with a concussion, but it's really hard to tell. He could miss anyone to 1 to 2 weeks due to the concussions. So that's the average that people are missing right now for that.
Yeah, here Thomas, he had a pretty good report today, so I'm optimistic that he's going to play against the Eagles. I mean, he's so needed now that Kirk is hurt, and there's a couple guys on the waivers. I mean, you covered everything. I think you talked about Diggs, right? I mean, too bad for Diggs. He's probably out for the year, but they didn't confirm it yet.
I mean, but it didn't look good though. No, and his brother was like after the Cowboys game, he was trying to watch a video of what happened to his older brother too, because I think he was even pretty shook up by it too. So I think he kind of knew already too that he's probably out for the year. So that tells you something right there too.
Yeah. The Jets are playing the Texans this Thursday, and it doesn't look like Nico Collins will be back yet. Now, the Texans can't afford to lose a game, so I don't expect them to start Nico Collins, and that's why you're seeing some line movement on the Jets' favor right here. So let's move on to waiver wire because you basically hit everything. Jacoby Brissett again for the May injury. If you want to lose next week, he's there, but I mean, if you're desperate, you got to try it. Now, Malik Willis. The Lions' defense is pretty bad. It's just that the Lions are always playing from ahead. But I don't know if he can throw the ball much. I think he's going to get a lot of rushing yards. So, I mean, Malik Willis, I would almost put him at equal or better than Brissett this week. So we'll see. Isaac Garendo for the Mason injury is big for about a week. I know they're going on bye, but is it for sure that McCaffrey comes back? And if he does, Garendo will still get some carries, in my opinion. So I like.
Yeah, they're not gonna give him a full load when he comes back either. They're gonna definitely ease him back. They want to keep him healthy. So yeah, they're gonna be definitely very cautious with CMC when he's back.
Definitely. I got Gabe Davis for the Christian Kirk injury. I think that's a solid pickup there. I think that could be a nice little sleeper pickup for Gabe Davis.
He's injured as well, though. I just went over that in the injury report, though, so keep an eye on that, though, too.
Yes, I think he plays, though. Kirk's definitely not playing. And if he doesn't play, you definitely can use Gabe Davis another week. So pick him up, put him on your IR if he falls in the O spot, and then, see what he does next week. But I also got Trey Palmer, too, wide receiver for the Shepard injury as well. So Trey Palmer. A couple unheard of guys, I wouldn't say unheard of, but like quiet guys might start making some noise. Ladd McConkey, man. I know he's owned in about 60% of Yahoo leagues, but if Ladd McConkey's not owned by now, holy cow, did he have a monster day last week? And Herbert's really slinging that ball now. Wide receiver Josh Downs was solid last week with 5 catches. So I like him maybe for a speculative move. I think I've used him before, but I'll say one more time. And plus Flacco might be the quarterback now at 80. So that would be awesome. We're trying to wonder about that. I'm sure everyone owns Flacco by now, but maybe check. Calvin Ridley, 15 targets as well. It's funny how the Titans talked smack this week and says, we're not going to try to target Calvin this much anymore. And then he has his best game.
Well, and then with Hopkins gone too now, I kind of like really going forward, actually, because with Hopkins gone, he's going to be the main guy there now. They're going to just feed him no matter what. So,
without a doubt, I agree. Yeah. Zeke had a great game against the Niners. And I thought they were going to really push Dalvin Cook with the Dowdle out. I wonder if Dowdle's in the doghouse. He hasn't had a good year, but neither has Elliott until last game. Now, they still lost the game. Holy cow.
I disagree on that, I guess. I think Zeke, the only reason Zeke had a good game is because Dowdle was out. And Dowdle's actually been pretty solid. He's been getting a majority of the carries and played pretty well when he's been playing. They brought Dalvin Cook up, but Dalvin Cook really didn't do much either.
No,
so Dowdle's still the number one there, I think.
It was against the Niners, though. It's hard to tell against the Niners. But, yeah, I mean, I would stay away from this situation for like a running back 2. I mean, I wouldn't even touch him for a 2. So, I mean, something from the bench, maybe Zeke. Zeke's kind of like the guy that's just getting passed around in leagues, right? So those are my waiver wires, Dave. Who are yours?
I have most of the same ones. Jameis Winston, he had a great game this past week. If he still is out there by any chance, definitely scoop him up.
Yeah, I grabbed him last week, man, in our Dynasty League, too. That was nice. Yeah, I think he's going to be starter going the rest of the year, I think.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And he could be a league winner, actually, too. This is definitely a league winner right here. So Jameis Winston, definitely plug him in. I have Malik Willis as well. Russell Wilson, if he's still out there, even though they're on bye next week, some people might drop him, or he's definitely not going to be owned. He's definitely owned in many leagues, but if so, definitely pick him up if he's out there. Tyrone Tracy actually had a really nice game tonight, actually.
Just scored a TD.
He had over 80 yards.
So, he just scored a TD, 45-yard touchdown run.
Oh, so yeah, so he over 100 yards and a touchdown tonight again. So definitely he's the starter now there. Devin Singletary is definitely the backup there now. Tyrone Tracy's definitely taking over that backfield. He's really good, young-looking back. He was a converted wide receiver too, so he looked crisp. He had some nice bursts. He's playing against a good defense tonight too, and he had some nice runs already tonight against Pittsburgh. So definitely like him a lot. If he's still out there, he's not owned in. He's actually, it looks like he's owned in about 52% of leagues, so about half right now. So if he's out there, definitely scoop him up. Nice bye week fill-in for the 2 running backs. If you had any running backs on the Frisco or Steelers, definitely plug him in. I definitely like him going forward. Playing against a great defense too. This is a speculative ad that's actually that you might want to add. Khalil Herbert from the Bears. He potentially could get traded before the trade deadline. And guess who actually would trade for him that we just were talking about? Dallas Cowboys actually were interested in him. Rumors have it. So if not to the Cowboys, he could go to a team that is running back needy. So he's not getting very many carries with the Bears right now. And I do see him getting moved before the deadline with DeAndre Swift playing better now. And Roscoe Johnson actually looking pretty good too as well. Roscoe Johnson actually was a second string role, but it had at least 27% snap rate. I did have a touchdown this past week as well. So I definitely think Herbert gets moved before the deadline. So definitely keep an eye on him. Braylon Allen, actually, some people have dropped him in some of your leagues because he's been struggling the last couple of weeks. He had a nice week this past week. He had over 12 carries. He had a touchdown. He actually looked really good this past week. So even though they lost, he looked really good. Cedric Tillman, we might have talked about him a little bit last week, but actually he was a fantasy stud this past week. He scored the winning touchdown against Baltimore, 2 touchdowns this past week. And his 12 targets for 81 yards receiving wasn't enough. He had erupted for 99 the week before. He had 99 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns on 9 targets this past week. So 2 solid weeks in a row. I definitely think he's the number 1 there now with Cooper gone. So definitely pick him up, plug him in. You already touched base on Keon Coleman last week and Josh Downs. Definitely those are 2 guys that should be owned right now as well. Rashad Bateman, picked him up. He kind of struggled again this week, but him and Michael Wilson, 2 speculative ads that going forward. Jaleen McMillan for the Shepherd injury. I like Trey Palmer as well. Kashan Butte, actually, against the poor Tennessee pass defense, and Ricky Purcell. Those guys, even though he's on bye, he actually looked good this past week. They were going to him quite a bit at the beginning of that game this past week, so I like him. One other person, Hunter Henry, we kind of talked about him last week, so I'm not going to go too much into that one. And then our defense I like streaming this week is New Orleans Saints. Of course, they're playing the Carolina Panthers, so definitely like that matchup this week. Bryce Young is turnover prone. He did have another pick this past week. So definitely the New Orleans Saints should have at least a couple turnovers this week on defense. And Carolina is not a very high-scoring offense as well. So definitely like New Orleans defense this week.
All right. Their defense has been pretty bad the last few weeks. Can the Panthers score on them? I don't know. I know they've been really injured too, but if they get some guys back, that always helps. Why don't you move right into non-starters trending up, Dave? Some sleepers for week 9.
Sounds good. Well, I do like the Texans against the Jets this week. The Jets defense has been faltering. When the New England Patriots can hang 25 on you, that's not a good look. Not a good defense either as well. I like Tank Dell this week with Nico Collins still out, especially with the Stefan Diggs injury. So I definitely like him this week. I think he has a big week against the Jets. He's going to be their main guy this week, especially with Diggs out, and then Nico's not back yet as well. And then I like the Falcons this week against the Cowboys. Cowboys pass defense and run defense. Tyler Algier is a guy I like this week against that poor Cowboys run defense. They go over 200 yards this past week on the ground. So I definitely like Ty Algier, even though you're not really not starting him. I think he gets quite a few carries this week as well. And they use that run game against that poor Dallas run D. Definitely like that matchup this week. I like Rashad Bateman, even though the Broncos do have a good defense. I do like Rashad Bateman. He's a guy I think that's trending up still. Zay Flowers is going to get his, but I think Bateman bounces back this week and has a good week this week. Before that, he averaged over like 10 fantasy points a week the last 3 weeks before this past week. So I definitely like him. The Saints, I like the Saints this week. I think Alvin Kamara has a good game against the Panthers. Panthers defense is not that good. I like him. Even Spencer Rattler might be borderline starter even this week, but probably not still. But I definitely like Kamara this week for sure against that poor defense. T. Higgins was a surprise crash this past week, but I do like Chase Young and this week against that poor Raiders D. I think he could do well. He had a touchdown this past week as well again. And then the Chargers, I like Justin Herbert, like you said. If you're not starting him, definitely you are this week. Even though the Browns have a good defense normally, their front four is very good. Their pass defense doesn't look that good. So I think Justin can have a nice week this week. J.K. Dobbins, I don't know if actually I'm not going to say him, but I definitely like Justin. I like Ladd this week too after his breakout game last week. So he's another guy that's trending up. The Commanders. What can I say? I like Jane Daniels this week. He's got to be a starter now, I think, after the season he's been having. So definitely.
Oh, come on. You say he is not a non-starter trending up, dude. This guy has been fantasy balling the whole year. By the way, Pickens
definitely a starter, but I like him this week.
Pickens just got a 43-yard gain for the Steelers. But, yeah, I mean, Jaden Daniels, I think he's better than most quarterbacks out there, ain't he? Isn't he like one of the best top 5 quarterbacks as a fantasy player now?
He is now. So, yeah, if you're not, you definitely, he's a must start this week, essentially, is what I was saying. He's not a non-starter trending up, but he's a must start this week against the Giants, is essentially what I was saying.
Okay.
So, I like Kyler Murray this week against the Bears. The Bears' defense has actually been looking really good, but Kyler Murray's been balling those last couple of weeks. I think they continue staying hot. I like them this week against the Bears. I know that most people wouldn't agree with that, but the Bears have a good D. But I do like Kyler Murray this week. I do like the Eagles this week. I like Devontae Smith. He had a nice week this week. Finally, it was a breakout game this week. I like him again this next week against the poor Jaguars D. Jaguars D is going to get him up a lot of points, so I do like him this week. I hate to say it, but I like Jared Goff this week against the Packers. Packers pass D didn't look that good this past week against the Trevor Lawrence. So Jared Goff has actually been on fire the last 2-3 weeks too. He's got an ankle injury, but he's going to play. But we'll see how much that hobbles him this next week. So I do like that matchup.
All right, Jared Goff is definitely a starter in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had only like a couple of incomplete passes his last 4 games. It's just been
he's a must start against the Packers for sure.
absolutely.
And then sorry, he's definitely a starter. But I'm just saying he's a must start against the Packers this week. And then the other guys trending up too, like Jaleel McMillan and Trey Palmer, I like them against the Chiefs with a Shepard injury. And the Chiefs, they do have one of the top 5 ranked defenses, but they definitely have to step up this week with the receiver injuries they have there.
All right, fair enough. Well, I'm going with Bo Nix again. He was my nasty sleeper last week, Dave. 30 fantasy points. He did better than guys like Tua. Better than guys like I think Burrow even. He did really good last week. Jameis Winston was freaking amazing last week. I actually put him as my tiebreaker guy in our dynasty league. But
you did? Nice.
I put Tua in, and Tua got 14. He got a ton, but I didn't need it anyway since we got that last Pickens deal. Dallas Goedert, if he's back against the Jaguars.
Well, I like that one.
I'm hoping he's back from injury, but he's a must start against the Jags. Wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins against Tampa's bad pass D. Yeah, and Tampa just lost linebacker Levante David. So man,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the Chiefs. I mean, who are you going to say? I think Kareem Hunt's already a starter, but I think DeAndre Hopkins now is probably a guy you slot in your flex now against Tampa's bad D for sure. I even like Caleb Williams against the Cardinals. I think he gets bounced back either way, even though he has bad coaching. I could see him being a little embarrassed from last week and having a pretty good week. A lot of people score on the Cardinals. Wide receiver Roma Dunze, you can just pair him with them too. But I also do like Kyler Murray, like you said, against the Bears, especially if the Bears still are losing Jaquan Brisker. There's a couple guys in the Bears, couple secondary that's been banged up. Austin Eckler against the Giants too. So we can't forget about him. I think he's going to get some pass receptions against the Giants, maybe break a big one. Well, running back Chuba Hubbard, believe it or not, against the Saints. So I kind of disagree with your Saints D. I think Chuba Hubbard is still going to be able to get some points, Dave. Maybe the Saints D is still a good start, but you're probably going with Bryce Young there. I don't know why you play Andy Dalton now. It's like, are you really trying to win games or just find out if Bryce has anything? I say you start Bryce Young.
I think Bryce starts the rest of the year, actually. I agree with you on that. Plus, Dalton's still banged up. So, yeah, I would start Bryce the rest of the year. Just let him play.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about Devin Singletary. Gosh, man, now I think I'm switching to Tyrone Tracy. I am taking away Devin Singletary. I'm switching to Tyrone Tracy. I thought Singletary would be possibly still the starter, but no, not after today. I think it's Tyrone Tracy for sure. I actually like Raheem Mostert against the Bills a little bit. I think he's going to get some points. He got 15 points last week. I benched him in most of my leagues, but he got 15 points last week. So, that's what I have for like the non-starters trending up. But I'll move right into the bus. Wide receiver Tyler Lockett, Dave. This was the week for him to do something. I was playing somebody that had Lockett.
I was surprised you as well.
Yeah, that's bad. Now, don't get me wrong. I will say it was raining the whole time. So I mean, I understand that part of it. Oh, Steelers field goal. Come on. But either way, this dude has not performed. I am worried about Tyler Lockett. Maybe you give it one more go if DK's out, but if you have better options, go with better options. Well, I think he's done just not trustable. James Conner against the Bears is a little bit rough. Now, James Conner is such a stud, but man, I'm worried about the Bears. Running back Rashad White at the Chiefs, that's not good at all. So I don't like him playing the Chiefs. Running back Javonte Williams against the Ravens, a pissed off Ravens too. Don't like Javonte Williams this week. I do like Bo Nix to throw the ball. I don't like them running the ball against the best run D. Running back Ramondre Stevenson against the Titans, believe it or not, is bad. Titans, they got to play for some dignity. If you watch that game, it was all special teams yards. It was every time there was a punt, dude ran it back to the
Detroit didn't do
touchdown.
anything really on offense. They had 100 yards passing. Like it was all just like special teams and their defense. Like they were just getting good field position every time. So yeah, Detroit didn't actually do really much on offense.
I know. I never seen anything like that, dude. It was absolutely insane. Oh man. And then I like or bus back to bus. Patriots wide receivers, I think, against the Titans, especially if Snead is back. So be watching if Snead's back. Quarterback CJ Stroud, Dave. I have him in a few leagues, but without those two receivers, only got
struggling. Yeah.
Well, you know who we should have said to pick up is Mechie, John Mechie. I'm gonna add him back to the waiver wire. John Mechie is actually made some good catches, and so it's going to be Mechie and Tank Dell really is going to be the guys for probably here on out at least until Collins is back, but they're still going to get some playing time. So John Mechie and Tank Dell will put in there for pickups. If you don't have Tank Dell, you probably should be owning by now, but Mechie. And then that's what I have for bust. Who do you have for bust, Dave?
Pretty similar to you, actually. Javonte Williams, I don't like him against the tough Ravens D. I don't like Tua against the Bills. I think the Bills defense have actually been playing pretty well the last couple of weeks. I don't like Mostert as well. Even though he had a good week this past week, I like the Bills have been playing much better actually lately. I don't like the Chargers run D or the running backs against the Browns either. I don't think Dobbins has a good day against the Browns. They still have a good run D. The pass D is what's been struggling here. I don't like you said, I agree with the James Conner. I don't think he has a good day against the Bears D. Bears D has actually been legit these last couple of weeks. Eagles D has actually been looking better. I think Trevor Lawrence doesn't have as good of a day as he did against the Packers. I think the Eagles D steps up, and I think he kind of struggles against the Eagles a little bit. I like them actually. The Colts, I like the Vikings actually. The Vikings have one of the better defenses this year. They've been giving up some points here, but I definitely don't like the Richardson if he's starting or Flacco against the Vikings. I don't like that matchup actually. But then, and I do agree with the other Rashad White. I was going to say that before. I don't like him against the Chiefs either. So I agree with you on all those actually.
All right, fair enough. That brings us to our nasty sleeper, Dave. Do you want to go first or me? I don't want to steal yours again.
I'm going first this week. I'll let you have it last week. I'm going Bo Nix actually. I'm week in a row actually against the Ravens. Ravens have one of the worst pass defenses in the league right now. And then they're not going to be able to run the ball against the Ravens because the Ravens do have a good run D. I'm going Bo Nix. That is my D-Nasty sleeper this week since I wasn't able to last week.
Well, I'm sticking with the quarterback too, but I'm going with someone we don't talk about a lot. Sam Darnold against the Colts. I mean, he's got extra rest coming off the bad win, a bad loss against the Rams, and the Colts defense is bad, and I think they're going to be able to pick it apart with those receiving studs with Jefferson and Addison. And guess who's supposed to be back? Hawkinson. We should probably have mentioned that. Take a look at the waiver wire for tight end Hawkinson. He's going to be a stud.
He was actually, but I don't know if he'll play this week or not, or how much he'll play actually. But yeah, definitely pick him up if he's available in any of your leagues.
For sure, yeah, because he was great last year, and he's been great even when he was on the Lions. He's got to spell his name E-N, not I-N, Hawkinson. So there we go. So great sleepers again. We got two quarterbacks. We got Bo Nix once again, and we also have Sam Darnold. David, anything we're missing?
Not much. Just make sure you get those people out for the buys. There are only a couple of buys this week. And check those game inactives before games this week, and make sure you get all your healthy starters in there. Also
getting close to trade deadlines, guys. So if you need to make a move, get those trade offers in. You might be able to pick up some gold from some desperate teams. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you have any questions for us, feel free to tweet us at The Oddsbreakers. Email us at info@theoddsbreakers.com. Have a great rest of your week, and go get some winners.